Hey guys, I just want to talk a little bit about my childhood, um, some of the things I did growing up, some good, some bad. Uh, Basically, just give you an idea about myself. I grew up with a pretty good mom, pa. My dad was crazier than a $3 bill. My mom, she was okay. Uh, anyway, uh, gosh, some of the crazy stuff I did. I tell you, I remember I went to go get my driver's license. I had my permit, and I remember I just turned 16, and went to go get my driver's license. And unbeknownst to my mom, I had been faking out my driver's license, and a buddy of mine's uh, to make him say that we were 21. And I had learned how to do that from another guy. And believe it or not, it worked. So I had all the materials in my room in this basket. Like a dumbass. I should have hid it in a better spot. But here we are at the DMV. I'm in a good mood. I'm going to get my license, so I can drive around. I got all these girls, as the whole nine. So I'm on cloud nine, and I go to pull my permit out of my wallet, and guess what drops on the ground right next to us? My freaking fake ID. And my mother looks down and sees it. And before I could grab it real quick, she reaches down and picks it up. She goes, "What the hell is this?" And she looks at it. It's got my picture on it. And it says I'm 21. And oh, did I get in trouble. Needless to say, I did get my license that day. And all my stuff to make the IDs got confiscated when we got home. So, yeah, I got in a little bit of trouble for that, but that was kind of par for the course back then. I was a bit wild when I was a teenager. There was a time, well, I won't give an age, but there was a time when I was had a steady girlfriend. Well, I'll take that back. I had two steady girlfriends, another girlfriend on the side. This place where I worked, I was seeing my boss, and then I was seeing a coworker at the same time. So, that's kind of hard to juggle. But I did it for quite some time. And those were the days. And yeah, we did some crazy stuff. I know I used to, when it was Halloween, speaking of gravestones and whatnot, there's a cemetery not too far from me. We used to go over in a cemetery and walk through the cemetery by the headstones and stuff. And I would take my girlfriend there, and I would I'd be in the mood for other things, but she'd be freaked the hell out. So I used to scare the crap out of her. And boy, she used to get pissed off at me. And anyway, boy, I was always in the mood wherever we were. back in those days. Well, still, but anyway. Um, so, but I just remember, yeah, it got to a certain point to where when my parents split up, my mother couldn't handle me. She gave up finally, and I pretty much lived kind of like a bachelor lifestyle at a pretty young age, and I was kicking it for a while. I was enjoying it, and man, I just think back to myself. Those were the days, you know. Um, and fights, yeah. I got into a lot of fights when I was younger, and especially because I was always in martial arts, you know. When you're kids, you know, at that age, you know, everybody, word gets around, oh, such and such is a black belt. Everybody, you know, it's like some mystical thing. Everybody, you know, here's it gets passed around from school to school to school to school, and there's always somebody that wants to test you out, you know. So I used to have this girlfriend that went to another school, not my school, and all these guys used to hit on her and everything, and she used to tell me about it, and my God, I was such a jealous freak. And we used to go to these parties, and I would find them, and I would come up to them. Now, granted, I'm the only guy from my school at this other school's party, and the whole place is packed with the other school. And I would walk up to these guys, and I would tell them straight up, you got a problem with me. You got a problem with me now. You've been hitting on my girl. You got a problem with me. We can either do it now. We can go outside. What's up? How's it gonna be? And you know what? No one ever took me up on it. It was always people that didn't know me or anything. And what's funny is, it wasn't big guys. It was always the little shits that I got into fights with. I never understood that. The little guys would start shit with me. I don't know if it was Napoleon syndrome or what. The little guys would beef with me, and I didn't want to hurt them. I'd have to lay them the hell out. It usually didn't last more than 4 or 5 seconds. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, I've always said it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog, as the saying goes. And that's very true. But these guys were, I don't know, just had frontal lobotomies or something, you know. Crazier than me, maybe, I don't know. But they learned a lesson the hard way, you know. And I know one time I wasn't even young. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to say where, but I was an officer, police officer, and me, my brother, and some family members went out one night, and we go to this club, and we're just out having a good time, minding our business. Just a group of guys' night out. And I went to the bar to get a beer refill, and a plastic cup beer refill, and I turn around, and this place is packed, so I accidentally bump shoulders with this fairly little guy, and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize." And I don't know, I maybe spilled a little bit of splash of beer on his arm or something, and I said, "Hey, I'm sorry about that. I said, you know what? Let me buy you a beer for that. I didn't mean that, you know. And the guy has the balls to actually say to my face, hey buddy, do you have a fucking problem? And, you know, there's a rule about bar fights. You know, when you hear those words in a bar, that means fight. Now, you either can strike first or you can get struck first. So, as soon as my man said, hey buddy, you got a fucking problem, he was eating a knuckle sandwich and was on his back on the floor. So, out of instinct, I suppose, I mounted him and did some ground and pound on him. And I was getting ready to get up because it was over in like seconds. And somebody booted me from the side with a boot in the side of my face. It didn't hurt. But then I stood up and I'm looking around to find out who did it. And I'm asking, who else wants it? Nobody copped to it. So then these two 400-pound obese fat-ass bouncers come, trying to grab each one of my arms to take me out of the club. And I said, stop. I said, hey, this is the guy you want, not me. And, you know, of course, I had a mini conversation with them real quick, told them what's up, and they understood me, and they kicked him, well, they peeled him off the floor, kicked him and his little posse out. And that's just, you know, the way it goes. And I don't mess around when it comes to that stuff, you know. Just, you know, another chapter in my life, you know, of craziness. And, you know, I gotta tell you, this is, well, you know, to me it's kind of comical, but, I was, overseas somewhere, and, I was a civilian working, and, we were driving, down this, little town street, and all of a sudden, we got blocked in, by all these people, and our car was getting, bum rushed, and, all of a sudden all these AKs come out of nowhere, and they're trying to shoot up our car. So we haul ass back, reverse. So we're getting the hell out of there. And we're blocked, and we you know, we do what we got to do. We crack doors. You know, we're geared up with M4s, and, you know, these are bad guys, and they're trying to kill us. And so, you know, we start defending ourselves and returning fire. And I remember distinctively this one guy running straight towards my door, and he had something in his hand. I don't know what it was. I was thinking at the time, maybe grenade, something, I don't know. And all I remember is raising my weapon and getting a real quick sight picture and pop. And one shot right here. And it was like something out of a movie. And all I seen, it looked like a watermelon. Now I know that sounds horrible, but it was almost like animated. That's just crazy kind of stuff that, you know, my life entails. And everybody asked me, you know, how I got the moniker Wild Man. Well, I got it because one of my coaches, one of my MMA coaches, I was training for a fight, and we were supposed to be going 5 rounds boxing, and me and my sparring partner, we were in the 3rd round, and I threw a left hook, and when I did, he went to his right as I threw the left, and my arm got caught, extended, and it got hyperextended, and it tore my left bicep, and it was flapping up here, and my left arm was flat, and he ran over, told the coach. Coach comes over and looks at my arm. He's like, "Dude, you need to go to the hospital." And I said, "Wait, you told us 5 rounds." I said, "I've only done 3. So I said, "I'll go after I finish 5. So I sparred 2 more rounds, finished my 5, and then I went. Ultimately, I had surgery and had it fixed, but he said, "You know what? You're not right. You're not right in the head, man." He goes, "You're a wild man." That's how I got my moniker. So I've got enough stories that are true. I could, should, maybe write a book or 2. Who knows? But anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a little insight about myself. And I got to tell you, there is something else about me. This does drive people crazy, especially people that I get close with. I don't smoke, so I don't have that habit. There is one habit I have, and I have to admit, it's kind of gross to some people. To me, I'm used to it, but to some people, it's kind of gross. But I chew tobacco pouches, and you know, I don't spit a lot with the pouches, but when women see it, it's a big turn off. So, yeah, women don't dig it. So, you know, unless I'm gussied up and going out somewhere and trying to impress, then I really don't care. So, yeah, that really gets on their nerves. But I could care less. So, anyway, that's a little bit of me. So, hate me, love me, like me. It is what it is, and I am who I am. I haven't changed, and I won't change for anybody. So, have a good night. Have a good morning. I'm going to sign off now. I've had a long day, long night. I've trained. And I've trained. And I did some more training tonight. So, that is all. Peace.